authority to 11 members in line with the best practices in corporate governance. Another bill that has been lined up for debate for the first reading this afternoon is the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill. The principal object of this bill is to amend the Public Finance Management Act of number 18 of 2012 to operationalize the public debt and borrowing with regard to framework for monitoring the level, which defines public debt to mean all financial obligations attendant to loans raised or guaranteed and securities issued or guaranteed by the national government. Another bill that has been lined up for first reading this bill is to provide for the management of conflict of interest in the discharge of official duties. Part 1 of the bill provides for the preliminary matters, including the application of the bill and interpretation. Part 2, Commission. It sets out the functions and powers of the Commission in relation to the management of conflict of interest and conduct of investigations, among others. The privatization bill has also been lined up for the first reading this afternoon. The principal object of this bill is to provide a revised regulation and competitiveness of Kenya's productive resources. The bill provides, among others, the preliminary matters, including the short title and interpretation of terms used in the bill. It further sets out the transactions to which the Act shall not apply, the guiding principles of the Act, and the purpose of undertaking privatization. Part 2, which contains Clause 7 to 17, provides for the coordination and oversight of privatization matters. It outlines the functions of the Cabinet Secretary, provides for the establishment, functions, and administration of the Privatization Authority, and the appointment and functions of the Managing Director, the Corporation Secretary, and the staff of the authority. If you're just joining us, the business of the National Assembly, the presiding speaker, and all function with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Moses Wetangula, and watch this broadcast on the go. Now, I will hand you over for this live broadcast of the National Assembly proceedings. My name is Edward Kabasa. Enjoy your viewing.
Waheshimiwa, na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, ambaye kwa hekima na wema wako umetiwa nyadhifa za viongozi na mabunge kwa ustawi wa jamii na utawala wa haki wa wanadamu, twakusihi utazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za jamhuri yetu. Twakuomba uteremshie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa, na tujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe, na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao tumesikabidhi mkononi mwetu. Amen. We have quorum to transact business. Our clerk.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable Kwame, take your seat, the nearest. Thank you. Honorable members of short communication. Honorable members, I wish to welcome you back to the House from the long recess. I note that the recess turned out to be a working break for most committees, given the intense time that had to be invested in the consideration of budget estimates for the financial year 2023-24, public participation for the Finance Bill 2023 and other bills, the vetting of nominees, the ended recess. Honorable members, nonetheless, it is my sincere hope that you manage to spend some valuable time with your families and constituents and are now rejuvenated to embark on transacting business during this part of the session. Honorable members, as I welcome you back, allow me to emphasize the need for the House to settle down as soon as now, given the volume of business with statutory timelines either currently before the House or expected to be brought before the House. Honorable members, some of the key business that will remain top priority in this month of June 2023 include the consideration of special motions for approval of proposed appointments of various persons to Judicial Service Commission, the Central Bank of Kenya, the National Intelligence Service, and other bodies. All budget-related business is also priority, including the consideration of budget estimates for financial year 2023, the Finance Bill 2023, the Count Allocation of Revenue Bill 2023, and the Count Government's Additional Allocation of Revenue Bill 2023, among other priority business. Members, take seats. The nearest seats. Take the nearest seat, Yusuf. Members, the nearest seats are not normally the seats you occupy every day. Honorable members, the 2010 constitutional dispensation shifted the budget-making responsibility from the executive to the National Assembly. Nevertheless, the tradition where the cabinet secretary responsible for finance to publicly pronounce the budget highlights and revenue-raising measures to the nation of the East African Community Partner States. In this regard, it is hereby notified that in keeping with the requirements of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and the Standing Order 244C, the Cabinet Secretary for the year to Assembly Chamber. Further, honorable members, the other key event during this part of the session is the National Prayer Breakfast. As you may already be aware, the date for the 20th National Prayer Breakfast was postponed to tomorrow, Wednesday, 7th June 2023. The event will take place at the usual venue, the Safari Park Hotel, starting at exactly 7:30 a.m. All guests are asked to be seated by 7 a.m. Honorable members, on the eve of the National Prayer Breakfast, as is in the tradition, the national conversation on topical issues affecting the country has been organized. The conversation commenced this afternoon and is currently underway at the Safari Park Hotel. Honorable members, that the House Business Committee has approved the moving of the motion under Order Number 8 in today's order paper, asking the House to suspend the morning sitting on Wednesday, June 7th, 2023. This is to avail members the opportunity to attend this important annual prayer event. Honorable members, timely consideration of the scheduled business before the House calls for the dedication of both the leadership and the entire membership of this House. Therefore, as we embark, just as we have ably risen before, and deliver on the legislative agenda for this part of the second session. Indeed, honorable members, the Assembly has restored the text of the motto of our Parliament in its place at the entrance of the chamber of the House. And the motto, as you can read, is for the welfare of the society and the just government of the people. When I first came here, it read for the welfare of society and for the just government of men. So the women, you have won the battle. Now it is the people and not men. Finally, honorable members, let me wish. Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Honorable members, at the bar, take your seats. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, I have a few messages. Honorable members, this first is a message from the President. Nomination of persons for appointment as Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya and Director General of the National Intelligence Service. Honorable members, Standing Order 42.2 relating to messages from the President provides that if a message is received from the President at a time when the House is not in session, the Speaker shall forthwith cause the message to be transmitted to every member and shall report the message to the House on the day the House next sits. Further, honorable members, you recall that on Wednesday, 15th February 2023, the House resolved that should the Speaker receive any message from the President, National Executive of the Senate during recess, the House also resolved that whenever the Speaker invokes this resolution, the Speaker shall report to the House upon resumption. In this regard, honorable members, I wish to report to the House that during the May, the President regarding nomination of persons for appointment to various state offices. In the first message, His Excellency the President conveyed his nomination of Dr. Kamau Thuge, CBS, for appointment as Governor of the Central Bank of Kenya, following the recommendation of the Public Service Commission. In doing so, His Excellency the President invoked the provisions of Article 231(1) of the Constitution, as read together with Section 13(1) of the Central Bank of Kenya Act Cap 491 and Section 3 and 5 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011. For clarity, Article 231(1) of the Constitution establishes the Central Bank of Kenya, while Section 13(1) with the approval of the National Assembly. I refer the message together with the CV and the relevant documentation of the nominee to the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning to undertake the approval here via my notification number 0. Members, it's expected that the committee has already commenced approval hearings and should table its report on or before tomorrow. Members, the second message from the President relates to the nomination of Mr. Nuruddin Haji, CBS, for appointment as Director General of the National Intelligence Service. The message conveys that pursuant to the provisions of Article 242 of the Constitution, as read together with Section 3 of the National Intelligence Service Act 2012 states that the National Assembly shall nominee and either approve or reject the nominee for appointment. Similarly, honorable members, in Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, for the committee to undertake the approval hearing, I also direct 2023. The Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations expected to expedite the approval process and table its report on or before Tuesday, 13th June 2023, to allow the House to consider the nominee with the prescribed statutory timelines. Honorable members, the bar, take your seats. I have other communications. On? Yes, Honorable Mbui.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I have messages from the CS. And Mr. Speaker, it's about a message that you read to the House here for the National Government Constituency Development Fund to a tune of GAF to a tune of about 2 billion per week. And later on, Mr. Speaker, he defaulted. Later, when we were doing an induction of our new members, he also again sent you with a written communication which you delivered in Mombasa. And again, he had also promised to be releasing 2 billion per week. Mr. Speaker, the financial year is coming to an end very soon. And members have not received this money in their constituencies. The letters came through you. You read them to us. They are on hand. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We need your guidance, please.
Honorable Mbui, let me finish with the messages, then we can come back. And it's on nomination of persons for appointment to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, and the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Honorable members, pursuant the provision of Standing Order 42, I wish to convey the following two messages from His Excellency the President regarding nomination of persons for appointment as a member of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. In the first message, honorable members, His Excellency the President conveys that in exercise of powers conferred on him by Article 232B and the Salaries and Remuneration Commission Act 2011, the President nominates Dr. Phyllis Wambui Wagasha as a member of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. On Revenue Allocation, CRA. The message conveys that pursuant to Article 215/2011, the President nominates CPA Mary A.C. Wanyonyi as chairperson of the Commission on Revenue Allocation. Honorable members, His Excellency the President now seeks the approval of the nominees by this House. The nomination shall stand committed to the relevant departmental committee for consideration. In this regard, pursuant the provision of Standing Order 45, I hereby refer the messages from His Excellency the President together with the CV, the report of the selection panel, and other testimonials of the nominees. With regard to the nominee for appointment as a member of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, to the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning. Honorable members, whereas the Enabling Statutes Provide Approval Act 2011 requires the National Assembly to undertake the exercise within 28 days. In this regard, on the general public of the time and place for holding the approval hearings, and thereafter, upon conclusion of the hearings, table their report at timelines. The House is accordingly guided. I thank you. Members at the bar, take your seats. Take the nearest seat. I have another communication. To Honorable Kalumba. Honorable members, the next for appointment as principal secretaries. Honorable members, pursuant the provisions of Standing Order 42, I wish to convey a message from His Excellency the President regarding nomination of persons for appointment as principal secretaries. In the message, His Excellency the President conveys that in exercise of powers conferred on him by Article 132(2)D of the Constitution as read together with Sections 3 and 5 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, he nominates the following persons for appointment as principal secretaries. 1, National Administration. 2, Ms. Anne Njokiwa Ng'ombe, State Department for Performance Management and Delivery Services, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Honorable members, Article 132(2)D of the Constitution provides that the President shall nominate and with the approval of the National Assembly, appoint and may dismiss. Honorable members, Standing Order 45(1) requires that upon receipt of notification of nomination of appointments, such nominations shall stand committed to the relevant departmental committees for consideration. In this regard and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 45 and paragraph 3 of Standing Order 42, messages from the President, I hear the CVs and other testimonials of the nominees to the respective departmental committees as follows. In regard with Salome Wairibu Kiwang'ombe, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security. Honorable members, Section 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011 requires the National Assembly to consider such nominations within 28 days and the general public of the time and place for holding the approval hearings. Thereafter, upon conclusion of the said hearings, table their respective reports on or before Wednesday, 28th June 2023. On the matter raised by the Honorable Mbui, and the majority leader will wield more authority on this than the chair CDF.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I'll beg your indulgence because I had engaged with the CS National Treasury last week, and he indicated they're in the process working on both disbursements for the counties and the NGCDF by afternoon for me to get back to him. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to take this opportunity to welcome back all the members back to the House after the short but long working recess. And also thank members because many of them were very active in committees, both departmental committees and also the select committees that had opportunity to sit. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, 6th June 2023. 1, legal notice number 40 relating to the excise duty amendment regulations 2023 and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. 2, legal notice number 56 relating to the universities regulations 2023 and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Education. 3, legal notice number 57 relating and the digital economy. 4, legal notice number 58 relating to the Public Finance Management National Peace Support Operations Fund regulations 2023 and the explanatory memorandum from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. 5, the draft Public Finance Management. 6, report of the special groups, youth, women, and persons with disability under the 30% preference and reservation scheme for the July to December 2022 period from the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. 7, quarterly report of the economic and budgetary review for the financial year 2022 financial statements in respect of the following institutions for the year ended 30th June 2022 and the certificates therein. A, Kenya Law Reform Commission. B, Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. C, Kipchabo. T, G, Kenya Veterinary Vaccines Production Institute. H, Kenya National Library Service. I, New Kenya Cooperative Creameries Authority of Kenya Universal Service Fund. I, Kenya Leather Development Council. M, Agricultural Development Corporation. N, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority. O, Universities Fund. P, National Environment and Management Authority. Q, Kenya Medical Supplies. T, Kenya National Innovation Agency, Kenya. U, National Museums of Kenya. V, National Council for Persons with Disabilities. W, Kenya Film Commission. X, Assets Recovery Agency. Y, Communications Authority of Kenya. And lastly, the Western Kenya Rice Mills Limited. Back to the House, to the Honorable Junet Mohammed.
The next is, honorable members, there are some papers to be laid by the Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee, and Chairperson, they'll lay those papers around 4-5. They're still in their committee meetings. Chairperson, Committee on Regional Integration, Honorable Wanjiku Muhia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is the report of the Select Committee on Regional Integration on its visit to semi-autonomous institutions of the East African Community in Arusha, Tanzania from 2nd to 8th of April 2023.
Thank you, Angie Kumuhia. Next, the chairperson, Department.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, the 6th of June, 2023, the report of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on its vetting of the nominee for appointment as a director.
Of motion.
Honorable Speaker, Intelligence and Foreign Relations in its report on Tuesday, 6th, 2023, and approves the appointment of Mr. Nordin Mohammed Intelligence Service.
Thank you. Next order. Honorable order I gave. That we will be allowing an additional question as a supplementary and 2 other joyriders, so that we can be able to cover the 9 questions that have been listed. And the clerk tells me there are many more flowing in. We will have the questioner, a supplementary from the questioner, and 2. Next order. We have a joyrider.
Order number 8. Sitting.
Majority Leader.
That pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 28.4, calendar of the Assembly, this House resolution approved by the House Business Committee this morning is to allow members of the House to attend and participate. Speaker, the National Prayer Breakfast is now an annual event and organized by the Parliament of Kenya. Honorable members, vital to hold House to attend. Going forward, the National Prayer Breakfast will be one of the many activities in our calendar. With these few remarks, I beg to move and request the
It was agreed in House Business Committee that the majority moves, the minority leader seconds. When did that change? Wandai?
I do second motions moved by the leader majority. Not his deputy, but all the same. All the same. I will proceed to second the motion. Yes. Every year for the National Assembly, indeed the Parliament of Kenya, to host the National Prayer Breakfast. So tomorrow's National Prayer Breakfast is just one of those breakfasts that you've held over the years. It's now become a tradition. Mr. Speaker, it's an occasion when the nation needs to reflect, really, on where it's standing, the gains it has made, and perhaps what lies ahead. So it's an occasion which should be, in my view, made to remain solemn as I personally haven't had the occasion to attend the National Prayer Breakfast. But for tomorrow, I will be attending. Tomorrow's National Prayer Breakfast, I will be attending to turn up in the large numbers and attend the National Prayer Breakfast, which is scheduled for tomorrow. Of course, I must add the rider that my own leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and the entire leadership of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition will not be in attendance. So they will be engaged in other national business or duties elsewhere. That notwithstanding, the entire Azimio leadership in the House, indeed, plus its membership, will be in attendance. And we hope that this particular National Prayer Breakfast will be of a different kind. Because in the past, we haven't lived to the speeches, high-sounding remarks, At the end of the day, we go back to our usual selves. So let's hope that this event of tomorrow will be. You know, we may differ in very many things, as is expected anyway in politics. But one thing that is for sure, a fact is that we all need God, Mr. Speaker. We all need God. And we must continually pray to God, collectively and individually, so that this country can be rescued. You never know, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. Majority Leader wants to say something.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I rise to support that motion. And indeed, as a leader of minority in seconding, but also to tell him the deputy prayer breakfast gives us an ask to our God. And I appreciate that the leader of minority also appreciates that the role God has in all our lives, irrespective of our political affiliation, Honorable Speaker. Two, it gives us the opportunity to also reconcile man to man. And therefore, I also look forward, Honorable Speaker, after the lofty speeches that would be at the prayer breakfast and the prayers, Honorable Speaker. Because, Honorable Speaker, if you want to ask how powerful prayer is, ask those of us in Kenya Kwanza, we will tell you how powerful prayer is. The presence of the entire leadership of the Azimio leadership in Parliament and the absence of the Azimio leadership outside of Parliament. Let me also announce the presence in that prayer breakfast meeting of the entire leadership of the Kenya Kwanza coalition in Parliament, and also our party leaders led by none other than His Excellency the President, because he knows that it has taken prayers for him to be president today. We had a drought in this country that we have not experienced for a record 40 years, and we kept saying that it is the worst drought in 40 years. Honorable Speaker, you remember when the President and the Deputy President led Kenyans in a prayer meeting of prayers, because after those prayers, Honorable Speaker, and prayers by many Kenyans, we have experienced rains in this country, and even as we seek to reconcile Kenyans. And how I pray that these prayers will also soften our hearts, that those who continue to incite Kenyans, those who continue to misinform and disinform Kenyans, even on the questions, the issues touching on finance bill on the floor of this House, because this is where to engage on matters that touch on the lives and matters that are of concern to the people who have sent us here to represent them. And
I'll give you 2 minutes. After you.
Thank you.
Order. After you, I'll give the chair of the, then I'll put the question. Buddy, you want to say something? Junet?
Speaker, so that we can have the prayer breakfast. Mr. Speaker, we have been having this prayer breakfast now for quite some time. When we can move forward. But Mr. Speaker, this prayer also is a very expensive one. It's not the ordinary prayer, Mr. Speaker. The kind of food they serve there, Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether it comes through prayers also, because it's not a small thing, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't know how we can get feedback, whether God has accepted that prayer. It's what I've been looking for the last 5 years, Mr. Speaker. But having said, Mr. Speaker, I have heard the majority leader, he said he has prayed for me so that I can come back. Mr. Speaker, one prayer that I know has not been accepted is that one. Because he just not a prayer, Mr. Speaker. And I know, even from his physical appearance, Mr. Speaker, he cannot qualify to pray for anyone. You know the way he appears. Sometimes we might burden God with small things because he has given you brain to do it. But if